Okay, so I'm live finally. All right, so I'm finally live. Okay, so I wanted to do this. The reason why I'm a little bit late is I've already been in to put one of my kids back to sleep. So I'm planning to rant on this for a little while, but it might be interrupted again of one of the kids waking up and needing putting back to sleep. And if that's the case, wait 5 minutes. If there's someone around watching this live, wait 5 minutes. I'll try and come back into it. As I say that, I think one of them's awake now. Oh, fucking hell, literally 1 minute. I'll be 1 minute. Let me see. Okay, I think I'm safe for now. For now, I think I'm safe. And this is the reason why I haven't done any live streams for a while, is because, well, both my kids sleep like shit. I mean, they wake up multiple times before midnight, so it's a nightmare. But they've been on a bit of a good run the last few days, so I thought I'd give this a go. Anyway, so yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to rant and go on about Nietzsche and the Ubermench, his concept of the Ubermench, and why it's so relevant today, especially today in today's world, and how it can combat and counter the Blackpillers, the doomsdayers, and normies. And I've been really inspired. I've come across in the last week a YouTuber called Ubermench, and he's a proper Nietzschean, and he's all about it, and he's re-inspired me to talk about this. So a lot of the ideas that I'm going to talk about here, have come from him, and I want to bring that to this audience and add some things of my own to it, if I can. So yeah, let's get into it. For you who don't know Nietzsche and Ubermench, so I've been a big fan of Nietzsche for about 5 years now. He's my favorite philosopher of all time, and a big reason for the whole me trying to better myself, right, and become the best version of myself. And that's basically Nietzsche was like the OG, the founder of the self-improvement sphere, the original self-improvement top G, if you like to say that. And his concept of the Ubermensch, is actually a little bit misunderstood. Now, maybe some of you heard it before, but people see it as almost like this idea of like being like the perfect guy, the ideal man. He's absolutely perfect, and so on. Now, Nietzsche said no one can be the Ubermensch. No one can actually be it. You can only be a bridge towards, for the next generation, heading towards this perfect being, this Ubermensch. Ubermensch, by the way, in German, it means Superman. So you can never really actually be it. You can just be the bridge. But it's not necessarily the ideal man. Now, it can be, and it can be the ideal man, but it's more, I think it meant it more in the sense of someone who's on the journey, who's trying to be excellent in whatever it is. You chase excellence in one domain, a certain thing, or across multiple domains, and you're just trying to get better. You're just trying to improve and be the best version of yourself, and be better than what current humanity, as a current society, the set level, or maybe even the top people in society are today. So you'll be on that journey, and I think it came into criticism, his idea of the Ubermensch, because it can be seen as sort of an elitist thing, and Nietzsche was, in a way, he viewed he viewed society as people who were elite and people who were inferior. And he believed, though, that those elites are the ones that, not how we view elites now, right? Just people who are running the show, running the shit show. No, he meant it, people really earned it, who really bettered themselves and created themselves and morphed themselves into something really, truly excellent. And so they deserve to be there. And that we should, as a society, we should respect these elites and strive towards being these type of people, and that we should hold them in deep regard. He said a society that, you know, worships and centers around the lesser, the less fortunate, and the less skilled amongst us is a weak society, and is a decaying and failing society, and essentially that's what we have now. And so it wasn't really, so we come into criticisms for that it could become elitist and it could be used in the wrong way. And Nietzsche even said this: my words can be interpreted and misrepresented and used as a weapon and in a negative way. And in the end they were, right? The Nazis and Hitler, it was about that idea of the ideal race, and the concept of the Ubermench, and using that for the ideal race. And his sister, in the end, used his works and changed his works, and his last works especially, and handed them over to the Nazis, so they can try to formulate this superior race. But he didn't mean it in that sense. He didn't mean it in the other way it's misinterpreted is, you don't actually have to be that. It's not actually being about someone who is so elite, as more about a spiritual elite. Are you spiritually elite? Are you on the way to that journey? And that means being on the way to that journey. That means overcoming oneself and bringing, certainly understanding your nature, human nature and your psychology, and using all aspects of it and formulating that to create a better version of yourself. And that's kind of what he meant. That's certainly the way I interpret it. Oh, by the way, guys, look, I'm going to rant here, and just if anyone does come in, at the moment there's no one, but if you've got some questions, put them in. I'll answer them at the end. And I know people watch this later down the line, so if you're watching this at a later date, just put some comments in and I'll reply to them. But so this is so that's pretty much the Ubermensch, trying to chase excellence. That's what it is, trying to chase excellence and centering your life and yourself and your persona around chasing excellence. And so I titled it Ubermensch versus the Blackpillers. And we know the Blackpillers, and I'm going to lump in the Blackpillers with the normies, because the Blackpillers might understand what's going on. They might be a little bit base, but they come see it from a negative point of view, and they say, well, the world's fucked, everything's fucked, it's meaningless. And so they don't do anything. They don't try to be better, and they don't try to improve things. They don't try to improve themselves. So I'm going to lump with Blackpillers, and it's a bit disingenuous to the title, to the video, but I'm going to lump them in with the normies. You know, obviously the normies, they're on the blue pill and they don't know what's going on, and they're useless. And Nietzsche spoke about his concept of the last man. And the last man would be, we've reached a stage where most men and most people in society are just fucking useless, time wasters, hopeless, out of touch with their instincts, physically useless, all up here, you know, all in the mind. That's how they live. A lot of escapism, pleasure seekers, degenerates. And what do we live in? What world do we live in right now? What society do we live in the West? Full of them. That's the normies. And I lump the Blackpillers in there with them because they end up just like those as well, and they think there's no point to improving the world, improving yourself. Fuck it, we'll just play these video games, we'll watch porn and drink and snort ourselves to death, because there's no hope and there's no point. So the great news is I don't think there's any reason for that pessimism, for that negativity. And there's never been a better time to create, to morph yourself into something great, something excellent, as Nietzsche would want. Now, how do we get here? How did we get to this point in society? I've got some notes here. Now, how do we get to this point of the last man, right? Where the last man is most of society, and society is degenerating. Because there's a lot wrong with the world, man. If you haven't noticed, you haven't turned on the news unless you've been living under a rock. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of shit been going on, and it just looks, certainly to me, and anyone that's kind of switched on, like it's just heading in one direction, and that is to shit. Now, I say that, and I think, well, surely I'm the pessimistic black pillar one, right? But I'll get to this, and I'll get to the reason why I think it's a great time to be alive and improve yourself. But we got here, and Nietzsche's belief is that we got here is because, and he lays the blame at the feet of Christianity. He lays the blame at the feet of Christianity. Okay, so let's get down to that. How has he done that? Why has he done that? So, and Ubermench talks about this and makes some great points. So let's take, and he takes the example of the Norwegian Vikings, right? The Norwegian Vikings, now these were fucking brutes, man. These guys were absolute brutes. They were savages, right? And they just went around and fucking went to the nearest village and killed all the men and took the women, raped them, and did what they're not. And they just lived almost like lizard brain type of existence. Incredibly masculine, probably super high testosterone, living off their instincts, living off this brutish, like sort of drive for dominance, right? Drive for exploration and conquer. And you know, the Germans had not the Germans, sorry, the Romans had big problems with them. They would fight them, and they would talk about this and how, God, it was so difficult to fight them because these guys were absolute specimens, and they were brutes and savages and lived off this sort of raw animalistic energy. But the Romans were the Romans, right? And they were so well organized within the army and the way they fought that eventually they would beat them. But the Christians, so the Christian priests in Europe were like, well, we've got a problem with these Vikings, these Norwegian Vikings. We have a big problem. How are we going to beat them? We can't beat them by force, like brute force. So like they're savages. We'll get annihilated. And so these Christian priests, what they did to overcome them, they indoctrinated them. They fed them drip by drip the doctrines of Christianity. And the thing is with Christianity, ideally, ultimately, and this is what Nietzsche talks about, is it's about being nice. It's about being good. And that means it's about treating things equally. All things are equal, right? Under the law of Christianity. And this worked in regard to the Vikings because that's how they overcome the Vikings eventually. This sort of constant indoctrination weakened them, softened them over time, right? These priests, they whipped up their magic spells via their words, and they cast a spell on these Vikings and softened them and basically civilized them, right? They became civilized. They agreed with it. And Nietzsche speaks about this. So the reason why that's a great example of why Christianity has led us down this path of the last man is because the masculine essence is one of dominance, right, is one of excellence. You had the masculine urge to go out into the unknown. And what's up, Alfie? What's up, man? I'm ranting here, but any questions you got, I'll ask them at the end. And I hope you enjoy my rants on this subject. But I'm well into it right now, so I want to keep my train of thought. I hope you stick around, man. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, the essence of man is to be excellent, is to chase excellence. And to dominate in a way, as many times. If you're high testosterone, if your testosterone is high, and you see it in high testosterone individuals, alpha male types, it's about winning, isn't it? It's about getting better and winning and exploring and doing new things. And that's tough to compete with, fighting fire with fire. So the priests with Christianity isn't about that stuff. It's about peace, it's about love, it's about being nice, it's about being kind. And so Christianity, Nietzsche said, it beat that out of us. It beat that drive for excellence, that masculine excellence out of us. And this is what the foundation now on the West and Europe and Christianity is founded on, about being nice. And that we center around this idea of equality, because that's what the ultimate form of kindness is equality, treat everything equally. And so the West orientates itself around this idea of equality now. And it doesn't orientate it around the idea of excellence. And the idea of excellence, it comes from nature, right? That masculine drive, that drive to be a beast, to be great, is forced out of you in nature. And that's where we came from. We came from nature, didn't we? We came from nature before civilization. And nature is harsh. Nature is brutal, but there's a law to nature. And that is, it rewards excellence. It rewards you to become strong. It rewards you to become resilient against the elements. It rewards you some intelligence on how to live out in the wild. You have to think about that. You have to formulate a plan. You have to get together. You have to know how to hunt. You have to know how to build. You have to survive, etc. So nature forces this excellence out of you. And out of excellence comes, of course, hierarchies, which of course creates inequality. And so you pit that up against Christianity. And they don't go hand in hand. They don't go hand in hand. You cannot have a strive for absolute excellence and treat things equal. It doesn't work. And so Christianity beat this excellence out of us, which essentially is such a natural part of our existence, of our humanity, especially as men. And it beat that out of us. It indoctrinated us over time. And now as in the West, it centers around and orientates around this idea of equality. And that's what we're heading towards in the West. We're heading towards this idea of ultimate equality. That's why the left and the far left politically are winning the culture war. They have a goal, they have a clear goal, that we're just going to go towards this idea of oneness, equality. Everyone is one world, one government, one this, one race, whatever you want to say. But you can't have excellence. You can't have real excellence and strive for excellence and have that at the same time. So they've had to beat that out of us, and it's why the war on masculinity has been going on now for some time. Just like I said, true masculinity, real masculinity is a strive for excellence. And that's why they've had to attack masculinity in chasing this goal of equality. So that's how we've ended up. And so what happens when you strive for that, when you don't strive for excellence anymore and you just formulate a goal around equality, is you end up soft. You end up soft. And that's the world we live in, right? We live in it, and men today, generally speaking, are soft. They're shadows of the men they used to be. They're shadows of those Vikings that I mentioned before. and those instinctual ways that men used to live. And I'm not saying there's nothing great about that way of the Vikings. I'm not saying that's noble, right? Going off, just savaging and pillaging the next village and killing all the men and raping all the women. I'm not saying we should go back to those times. I'm just saying there's something in the way that nature demands this mode of excellence. And out of excellence derives great things, and great things from culture. If you look throughout culture, if cultures that strove for excellence always created great things, but they were often off of the back of what we perceive today as almost evil acts. So if you look at, and Ubermench mentions this, if you look at the pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Giza, right? They're perhaps one of the wonders of the world. We still don't know how they're built. They're absolutely incredible. One of the greatest things probably humanity's ever built. They were built off the back of slaves. You chase excellence, you're going to have that inequality, and there's going to be people that exploit that inequality, of course. But Nietzsche would argue, and his point is, and the way Nietzsche sees the world, is that we should, Christianity has how to say this, has beaten out that excellence of us. It's destroyed it. And it just, eventually it leads to decay. And it leads to totalitarianism, and we know that to be the case. I mean, any socialism and communism, you look at the history of those political ideologies, they only lead in one direction eventually. So, as I check my notes here again, so that's what Nietzsche would say. He would say we need to go back to orientating ourselves around this concept of excellence. Okay, but with some humility. With some humility. I think that's a good balance, instead of just this raw sort of, lizard brain type, operating on almost an instinctual basis, going back to our natural roots and of dominance and so on is not the way. I think a world of orientating ourselves around excellence with fairness, with humility and fairness would be better. But operating ourselves, the current world that we're heading towards equality is leading to disaster. And everybody knows it. Hence why mental health problems are on the rise. Suicide and depression and anxiety, and people are worried, people aren't optimistic about the future. So much pessimism, so much negativity surrounding the future. And if you look at fertility rates, they're taking a nosedive. And people don't have kids if they're unsure of the future. And I hear this all the time from people that don't have kids. They say, I don't want kids, I don't believe, I'm not sure about this world, I'm not sure about the future. And there's millions of people like that. They come up with this excuse, really, to not have kids because they're completely unsure of the world. So we're not heading in a good place. And people are really, truly aware and red pill and based know that. We're not heading down a good way. So what do we do about this? What do we do about this? And this is where the Ubermench comes into play. And I think, turn to 90 degrees, my camera's turned to 90 degrees. 180, 90, yeah, it should be the way this is meant to be the way it, so I'm at an angle right now. Am I at an angle? Am I at a funny angle right now? See the chat. Let me just fix this camera. So I'm not, you're watching me, for what? So where am I now? Funny angle. Oops, that's all right. Is that better? How's that angle? Is that better? What's this button? Find angle. Maybe I've got the lock in. What's the lock? I've got the lock in. No, the turning lock's not in. It's not in. Let me try it 1 second. Let me try something quickly. Ooh, I'm definitely losing my train of thought. How's that? Is that better? Am I upright? But is that not selfie mode if I'm like that? Perfect. Shit, that's not good though. Okay, so supposedly that's perfect. All right, I'm going to leave it like this. See what happens. Great, so I was talking for 25 minutes and the camera was the wrong way. Brilliant. Just my luck. Still got to get used to this fucking shit. Anyway, so where was I? I was ranting. So yes, a great time. Why I think now is a great time. So the world's going to shit. The world's going to shit because we're orientating ourselves around this idea of equality, and it's leading us down a terrible route. And instead we should be orientating around excellence. So that's one reason why you need this concept of the Ubermench, the Superman, to be the higher man. Because that's the only solution that I see. It's the only solution that I see, firstly, to help society. So the far left are winning the culture wars, and they're almost in almost most of the positions of power. So we have to try and formulate a plan how we can get ourselves and turn this ship around. Get into positions of power, get into the school systems, get into the political systems, get into the media, etc. Like in the same way the left did and are. And if they can do it, we can do it. So that's one reason. But firstly, so there's no reason to be black pill. There's no reason to be negative, because look at the times we're in. Look at, you know, they're saying the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. We're also in a time where the smart get smarter, the dumb get dumber, the strong get stronger, the weak get weaker. It's never been a better time ever in history to be one of the elites, right? The luxuries and the access that the top 1% have now, it's better than ever. And it goes in regards to everything now. The information we have, the internet, what a tool. What a tool. Black pill is, so I'm going to refer, what does black pill mean? It means, so I'm going to refer to it, put it this way, as a sort of nihilistic view on the world, pretty much. You can relate it to women and many things, but pretty much a nihilistic view on the world. That's how I'm referring to it in this one. But yeah, anyway, so as I was saying, we live in a time where we've got so much information. Now, it's also an age of misinformation. There's a lot of shit online. It takes you a long time to go through and find out where the good information is. But we've never been in a time where there's so much information at our fingertips. We've never been in a time where we've got all these incredible, this understanding of how the human body works, right? And how our hormones work, and with the supplementation and the nutrition and the sleep and all this and recovery and all this stuff. So we've got all this at our fingertips. Like imagine Nietzsche, right, with all this stuff. He would have been just blown away by what we can do, what we can create, or how we can form ourselves with understanding technology and accessories that can help us in this world, right? You can literally turn yourself into an absolute beast, a savage type of man. Imagine millions of men, and millions of men are doing this. They're going out. You can even talk about steroids and people on testosterone and just turn into absolute beasts that we've never quite seen before, right? We can literally become a type of men that have never really walked this earth before. You can be that great. You can be that armed with knowledge and understanding and skills. Yeah, and understanding and skills that the millions of men have never had before. So this is what, there's no reason to be negative. There's no reason to be nihilistic. There's no reason to be black-pilled about this and be like, there's no point, there's no hope. We live in an unbelievable time. The best time ever to create the best version of yourself, right? The best time ever to become absolute beasts and savages. And those higher men, those fucking high testosterone Chad-likes, like literally the Chads, like Chad, what they call it, Chad Nation or some shit like that. I don't know on Twitter what they talk about, right? But literally, like the Chad types, but the intelligent, the thinking Chads, they're the ones that I truly, and I believe this, I'm going to say this, I truly believe they're the type that can really change the world around for the better. And this, like your Andrew Tates, and this is why Andrew Tate growing suddenly and absolutely taking off in popularity. So that to me is a great sign, and fills me with such hope and positivity. Yeah, things are going to get worse before they get better. They are. They're not going to turn around now, but we're still in the trenches here. But it always comes around, man. And the thing is, even if society does collapse, right, the ultimate black pill thought comes turns into reality, and society collapses. And societies have always collapsed, and there's no reason to think why ours wouldn't. It's always the fucking masculine, the most masculine men that survive and thrive anyway. Right? It always is. And so why wouldn't it be this case? So why wouldn't you turn yourself into that type of Ubermench character and also be prepared for the collapse and the re-emergence of the next great society? That's how I view it, and that's why I think Nietzsche's concept of the Ubermench and how I've been talking about it now and presenting it to you, it's ultimately like what this whole popularity in masculinity and self-improvement and the manosphere is all about. Ultimately, is this formulating and congregating around this idea of fucking masculine excellence. And that's what we've got to get back to. And hopefully, as time plays out and we inspire more and more men and future generations, I hope that eventually we all take over and we'll become the dominant, we'll become the general population. And then we center around this idea of excellence again. And then it gives rise to another great run of society, civilization. I mean, it sounds grandiose and maybe wishful thinking, and I'm just ranting and talking shit right now, but what else are you going to fucking stand for right now? What else journey are you going to go on? Improve yourself and leave the rest behind. That's the thing. It's going to be this separation between the guys that want to make something of themselves and want to strive towards that higher self, that Ubermensch type character, and the rest of people who don't give a shit, who don't believe in it, who don't know about it and don't care, and just want to play their PlayStation, jerk off to porn, watch Netflix, and eat themselves to death. And so there'll be this huge separation. And that's good. That's good for us. That's good for us up here. Less competition, great, fine, no problem. We're way ahead of you guys. You've got nothing on us. We're the real elites. That's what it'll end up being. It's just this separation is kind of more and more. You know, the last man, the general man, is just going to end up becoming worse and worse, weaker and weaker, race to the bottom as we're ascending higher and higher to heights that no one's ever seen before, because we live in these times of great information and supplementation. So that's why it's such a great time to be alive, despite the decay and degeneracy. And that's why it's a great time to be alive. That's why I don't see any other reason why you shouldn't be on this journey of fucking becoming a beast again. You know, your own version of a beast. And it means, like I mentioned before, that deriving of excellence is forged from nature. Yeah, so it's a natural thing, and nature rewards excellence. So get out there, get out into the world, man. Get out of here. This is what Nietzsche criticized. Another criticism of Western, of modern culture and Christianity. We became too practical, too abstract. It was all in here. You're never going to self-actualize. You're never really on a truly spiritual journey, just up in here. And that's what civilization is based around, just purely practical. He said, Nietzsche mentioned it's about going through the body first. Forging, creating this great body of work, getting out in nature, letting nature harden you, toughen you, improve you physically. And that will help you mentally. That will help you spiritually. So you've got to work the body, man. You've got to start fucking training. You've got to be pushing yourself. Get out. Don't just go to the gym, right? It's some fucking comfy, air-conditioned gym with perfect weights. Get out there. Get out in the real fucking world. Get out in the cold and the wind and the wet and the extreme heat and so on. Let that forge you. Let that be your path towards self-actualization, and let the rest, and then taking everything else, read all the books, do all the meditation, do all of that, right? And it's one of my criticisms of the self-improvement game. It's too passive. It's a little bit hollow, because it was about meditation and journaling, and as physical as it gets is going to the gym and cold showers, but it's not enough. You get out there, get out in the real world, get out in nature. That's where excellence is really rewarded, become real beasts in that way. And then bring it back to the real world. And that's why this is a fucking great time, man. It's a great time to be alive. It is a great time to be alive. I don't know, what's my notes here? I've been ranting, talking shit. I hope it's congruent. I hope it makes sense. It's pretty much summed it up, what I wanted to rant about. I've got two of you guys in here right now. I don't know, guys, you got any questions? What do you think? Am I talking shit? Either of you guys read Nietzsche? What do you think about Nietzsche? What do you think about his concept on the Ubermench? And anything I've said? And anyone watching this in the future, drop me some comments and questions as well. Kids haven't woken up. Been able to rant for half an hour, which is nice. Not being interrupted. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Crypto Canal. Yeah, it's interesting to see the uptimes of times like this. It is, and only the really aware, truly awakened ones amongst us can see it. Everyone else sees the negativity, but I just see there's no reason for it. There's so much optimism. We live, like I said, we live in the best times to be great. Alfie, got some free time later this week to talk. I'm going through a big shit show. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. What day is it? On Thursday over here. Let's get chatting on the weekend, or maybe Sunday. Sunday is good for me. We'll talk to you. I'll talk to you then. I know things are very rough over in Iran right now. Really, really, really rough. And obviously, what I've been talking about in regards to the West and Christianity doesn't quite relate to Iran, right? But yeah, let's talk on Sunday. Have you guys read Nietzsche? Have either of you guys read Nietzsche? Only a little in school. Fuck, you read Nietzsche in school? That's good. I didn't know who Nietzsche was until I was like 26. They kept that shit from us on purpose, I think. Where in school? Where did you go? Where in school did you read that? What country? Alfie, I'm reading Mankind in Search of Meaning. Yeah, one of my top 5 recommended, right? One of the greats, great book, phenomenal book, absolute phenomenal book. And this, look, that concept as well, finding the meaning even in the worst of situations is a form of the Ubermench in a way. You know, you're going above the norms, the herd, and trying to find the positive out of it and trying to create the best situation you can, even in the worst situations. It's a phenomenal book, absolutely brilliant. And what you read that, and then you listen to the complaints of the last man, the average man in society, and many on the left, and you just think, you fucking idiots, you honestly, you pathetic humans. Man, you read it in Germany, of course you did. Nietzsche, you read in German schools, of course. Of course, in England, they ain't gonna be teaching kids Nietzsche. No way. Chase excellence? Absolutely not. It's all about equality. And the problem with Christianity and equality, according to Nietzsche, and I pretty much agree, is it appeals and sort of levels off at the lowest, the least of us humans, you know, the laziest, the weakest, and so on. Levels the playing field for them. But Nietzsche argued that that's not what we should do. As humans, we should strive to be great, and that is going to create some form of inequality. That's the rule of nature. Is that kind? Is that good? Is that moral? For Nietzsche, it didn't matter about that so much being moral, and maybe he could have leaned more towards that, but you know, we've got so much potential in us, and that potential is wasted on the idea of trying to treat everyone equally. Yes, Kitty, welcome. I finished my rant. You're gonna have to watch this back. I finished my rants on Nietzsche. But yeah, hopefully you can watch that back. I won't be too much longer, guys. I mean, there's only 3 of you in the chat. But if you've got any questions, because what time is it? I don't even know what time it is now. It is, yeah, I'm around for a little bit longer. Any questions? Doesn't have to be about what I'm ranting about. Ask me anything. It's good to have you boys here. Alfie, it's intertwined with Stoicism in regards to Mankind Search for Meaning. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's 11:30 over here. No, man, no, Kitty, I didn't just go live. I've been live for 43 minutes now with my camera at the wrong angle for half of that time. But yeah, 43 minutes. So you'll have to watch this one back. I rant on about Nietzsche and the Ubermench for a while, and society, or basically it was under the premise of like the society is orientating itself around the idea of equality, and Nietzsche hated that. Nietzsche wanted humanity and mankind to orientate itself around excellence. You know, we've got so much potential in us, and it's just wasted on the idea of equality, and that idea derived from Christianity. Christianity gave birth to this notion, and has weakened us. So yeah, I don't know what you think about that. Trying to find where's the chat again? But yeah, got some good videos coming out, guys, pretty soon. Got some good stuff. Got a video coming out next week on outlier. How to be an outlier male. That'll be a good one. The last video, like, I'm gonna heavily edit. I've got a video editor coming on board because I just can't do this whole high quality editing stuff. One, I'm not very good at it, and two, it just kills me, man. It takes up so much time. I'm wearing a bathrobe. I'm wearing my dressing gown, man. Yeah, I'm about to go to bed. I'm wearing my dressing gown. I definitely didn't dress up at 11:30 at night to do a live stream for 3 people. But yeah, I put my lenses back in. That's about as good as it got for me. Yeah. The channel's doing all right. I'm at what am I at? 602 subs. Just a lot of potential in it. I see a lot of potential. There's numbers coming in every day. I'm often at around like 250, 200 views per day. So the algorithms pick me up to somewhat, and it's gradually pushing me out there. So a lot of potential in it. I've just got to improve everything. Step everything up. Fake it till you make it. Absolutely. Smoke and mirrors, Kiri. Sometimes it's smoke and mirrors, this game. No, I'm messing. I'm trying to be as genuine as possible. I do try to be as genuine as possible. Kitty, have you read Nietzsche? Have you read any of Friedrich Nietzsche? I know me and you have spoken a little bit about him. You know I'm a big fan of Nietzsche. Have you read him at all? Also, I want to get you, Kitty, I want to do like a little podcast thing with you on this channel eventually, pretty soon. You haven't read Nietzsche. Fucking what you doing, man? Fucking read Nietzsche. I said at the beginning of this, like the whole like self-improvement fucking manosphere shit was basically the fucking brainchild of Nietzsche. He basically started this whole shit. He's the OG, the Godfather. So you gotta be reading him, man. Especially in today's. Look, watch this back. Watch this back and what I talk about. I'm really starting to think he had it. He had it figured out, man. Like what we've got to be doing, you know, orientating around excellence, despite the fact that that's going to create inequality. I think that's the best way for us, and the ones that are going to do that are going to be the ones that are going to change it for the better. You've got too little time. Yeah, don't say you got too little time. You've got other priorities. It's other priorities, right? Yeah. Anything specific? Start with Nietzsche. Start with Nietzsche. What's the fun? I started with Thus Spoke Zarathustra. You could start with that one. I probably wouldn't recommend. Beyond Good and Evil. Start with Beyond Good and Evil. That's a good one. Go with Beyond Good and Evil. That's great. It's basically the concepts I spoke about today. But he's the OG, man. He's the greatest philosopher. Fuck all of us like fucking YouTube manosphere, self-improvement gurus. What I'm trying to become. And it's all about the Nietzsche. But yeah, anyway, guys, so thank you for coming in. The 3 of you. I'll probably jump off to bed. I recommend if you haven't, all of you guys who are watching this at a later date, I hope you enjoyed it. Drop me, if you've got questions, drop me a question in the comments and I'll reply to you. How can, here's a good question, Crypto Canal. How can I get myself to do hard things? Do you have tips on leaving comfort? This sounds like the most cliche or like most obvious thing. Fucking do it. Like what? Really, you shouldn't, why are you even asking me that question? You know, in the same way you built up your channel, you've got a very successful channel, you just started, right? You just got going. Just got to do it, man. Just do something. Do something, right? Start with a cold shower, start training, start exercise, get out in the gym, at least. Or throw yourself in the deep end. You know, where you live in Germany, it's freezing, it's cold right now, right? Right, get outside, do a training day outside in shorts and t-shirt. And you'll be, and understand that the power of the mind, man, is a serious thing. You think, that's crazy, I can't do that, I can't do that. You're just putting limits on it. There was a good video I watched the other day called Yes Theory, by the YouTube channel Yes Theory. They're like really big, and they did it with Wim Hof. And they did, so it's his training week they did with Wim Hof. Look it up on YouTube. And basically, they turn up to his center where he trains people, and they were all expecting to go through his breathing method and build their way up until the end of the week, where they have to like climb up a mountain. And so they get there on the first day, and Wim's like, right, we're going jumping off a cliff into freezing cold water. And they're like, what the fuck? We haven't done any preparation. We haven't done any training. And you see, they're all like really pissed off about it. And then, and so they do it. And then Wim's like, you know, the next day, Wim's like, right, we're going into a 10-minute ice bath. And they're all like, wait a minute, 10-minute ice bath, like, usually this is for the end of the week when Wim's train people up for a week, and he's like, yeah, we're just gonna fucking do it, no training. And they're all really pissed off because they're like, we've come to learn the method, we've come for the training, we've come for the progress, and you all just want to throw us in the deep end. We've never done any of this stuff. And his idea was, just fucking do it, right? The mind is the limiting factor. Just go out and fucking do it. Just do it. Just get in there, get in that fucking ice bath, shut the fuck up. Stop thinking, stop being here, yeah, too practical, abstract. Fucking feel it in your body and get out there and do something and make yourself uncomfortable and push yourself through that comfort. And they ended up all doing it, of course, right? And it was a really, really interesting video. So, mate, you shouldn't even be asking, how do I get myself out of the comfort zone? You know exactly how to, and so go and do it. Absolutely go and do it. But, let's also get on a call. Drop me a private email and we'll talk in private as well. Let's talk in private and look at your schedule. Look what your day-to-day is like, your week-to-week is like, and come up with something you can do on the regular. The video, what was the video called again? It was called, look up Yes Theory and Wim Hof. Type that in and you'll see they've got 2 videos with him, and it's the week's training. I think it was titled like the week training with Wim Hof. The first video they did with him. It was a really good video. And Wim Hof is an Uberman, right? I don't know if you know Wim Hof. Do any of you guys know Wim Hof? I know, Kitty, you know Wim Hof, but he's a modern day version of the Ubermench. You know, living a great life, trying to raise up humanity, living a life of excellence, achieving incredible things. The motherfucker walked past the death zone on Mount Everest in his shorts. What? Insane. And that is, my friends, that is orientating yourself around excellence. Kitty, Bloom Uko, so that's Kitty, that's, watch some Andrew Tate. If that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will. Yeah, obviously, yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why he's blown up, right? Especially amongst men. Yeah, if you watch Andrew Tate and you're not motivated, you probably have to look at your testosterone levels. You probably have to check your testosterone. Probably too much soy, as they say. I eat quite a bit of soy. I'm mostly vegan. Used to be vegan, not anymore. But I don't think my testosterone's too low. I think I'm doing all right in that regard. Despite the 2 kids and lack of sleep. But yeah, just get out there, man. Comfort. You need fucking comfort. So that's where you grow, man. I don't know who said it, but comfort is death. If you live a life of comfort, you're dying. You're dying, my friend. You're dying, getting closer and closer to your death, closer than someone like myself is. Maybe that sounds arrogant, but you know, discomfort is where growth is. How much does a call with you cost? Mate, free at the moment. I ain't gonna charge money when I'm on like 600 subs. We'll get on a call for free, my friend. You're a loyal follower of this channel. So let's get on a call. Inaction and Slow Death. Yes, from Better Ideas. Yeah, he's got a great channel. I love his stuff. Been inspired by him. Absolutely. I really like his channel. Again, someone like him, do you know what I mean? Like the idea, you know, centered around this idea of excellence, which is against the narrative of current of modern day culture and modern day society. Kitty, what you eat that is not vegan? Yeah, man, I eat a little bit of meat and fish these days. The body was just breaking down. I was feeling weak and fragile on the vegan thing. Just super common experience for people that are on the vegan diets for a long time. That I've come across is the first year or so was really great, and it was great for me, and I just kept getting injured. Started putting some animal products back in and feeling much better. Not much meat, mostly like eggs, eat eggs, a little bit of dairy and some fish, but man, I feel way better, man. This is probably the best I've felt in my body for a while. I'm actually going to do a fitness video. My next big video is going to be about my minimalist training and longevity training. I feel really good right now. Where's that fucking chat gone? Kidding. If you get in a call with Ryan, you have to share his channel with 3 friends. 300 friends if you can. This channel's got to grow, man. It's too slow. But fuck it. Do you know what? It really isn't about numbers, is it? To be honest, I think you can make shit work with, like I said, with 5,000, 10,000. Yeah, it's about this. It's about connecting with the audience and connecting with you guys and creating relationships that way. Red meat? What meat? Red meat? Red? Yeah, sometimes pork. Yeah, sometimes a bit of pork chop, and mostly chicken and pork chop if it's meat. Oh, what's up, Marcus, in the chat? Keep grinding. I will, my friend. 5-year plan. I ain't going anywhere for a while. A bit late to this. I'm about to head to bed, but watch this back, yeah? Watch this back. I don't know if you've read Nietzsche. Marcus, have you read Nietzsche? I was ranting about Nietzsche for almost half an hour. I think a lot of value in this one. A lot of value. It's sort of Nietzsche really sums up really well the predicament where we are in society, but how we can get out of it with the idea of his concept of the Ubermench. And that's what we are all trying to be here. Fucking modern day Superman, really. I hope so. Yeah, man, look, Friedrich Nietzsche. Read Friedrich Nietzsche, understand, watch videos on him, man. He's the OG. He basically gave birth to the whole self-improvement thing, fucking 100 years ago. Not sure exactly the year he died, but... if you see, like, everything everyone talks about, what I talk about, what everyone talks about, man, that he came up with it. He came up with it back then. He's an absolute genius. And I'll sum it up really quickly before I go. I know I summed it up for the other boys, but I'll sum it up. The video is like, society these days orientates around the idea of equality, and that's just terrible. It completely nullifies our instincts, our natural instincts, especially as men, to achieve greatness. And so we should be orientating ourselves around this idea of excellence and trying to be excellent and live excellent lives and be excellent beings. And that means we need to go back to our nature, to living a life more involved in our instincts. And one of the reasons why we do orientate ourselves around this idea of equality is it lays at the fault of Christianity. And Nietzsche talks about that, but I talk about in this stream, so watch it back if you can. Look, guys, I'm going to go to bed because it's late here. What time is it? Yeah, it's nearly midnight here. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed ranting and talking to yous. I'd love it if you do watch it back, the ones that have just come in. Let me know what you think. Crypto Canal, let's get on that call. All right, drop me the email. Okay, drop me the email. My email's in my details, and we'll sort it out. And again, guys, thanks for coming into the chat. You guys are my regulars. I appreciate you guys massively. So, well, much love for you guys, and you fill me with a lot of motivation. Like I got a 5-year plan. I'm not going anywhere for 5 years, but you guys definitely just give me that bit more juice, that bit more oomph to put out more stuff and keep it consistent. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. I'll do the live stream again soon. I'll be in touch soon, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, guys.